You know what I wish? Not for world peace, because that's bullshit and that'll never happen. I wish that every congressman and woman and state senator and representative made it a federal law that if you touch a child, you are no more. Redux Magazine just posted this article, and it made me absolutely pray that every state is going to be like Florida, because Ron DeSantis just signed a bill into law stating if you touch a child, you are getting the death penalty. Way to go, Ron. Way to go. Now, with that being said, let's go to Tacoma, Washington, shall we? You know, I don't give a shit what anybody calls me. You want to call me a bigot? Go right ahead. But these people absolutely need to be locked up and given capital punishment, because this guy here identifies as Isabel. And Isabel, as you see, a transgender youth advocate, has been charged with the blank of an infant girl. And ironically, the local media in Tacoma, Washington is silent. A Washington male, because this is no man, a Washington male who identifies as transgender has been arrested and charged with the blank of an infant girl. William Kelso Flournoy, who uses the name Isabel or Izzy, was charged last week with first-degree blank of a child and sexual exploitation of a minor. Tacoma police began investigating the blank after receiving a priority 1 level cyber tip from Google, because these people feel so damn comfortable anymore. Oh, look at this. They accept me if I sit here and put a binky in my mouth and wear a diaper, because we're people too. You sickos who have normalized this have absolutely fueled this. You know that, right? So thank God to Google, because look at me. You can't do nothing on the internet. You can't, because I don't care who you think you are. You will get caught. And again, we need to make it across the board, all 50 states, that if you touch a child, especially in this type of manner, you get the death penalty, period. According to Tacoma Police Department, an incident report obtained by Redux, the tip had flagged a photo uploaded through Google describing as depicting an adult male on his knees with a small infant in front of him. The man, whose face is not visible in the photo, was, and you see it for yourself. This was the photo that this asshole took of this child. This is what he did. And you think this animal deserves to breathe? I don't. And this is why so many of them are going, well, I'm transgender. So they can gain access to women's spaces, and then they can gain access to your children. And so the way that he was caught was because he had 2 distinct moles on his hands, which detectives then compared to these pictures, and they made the trooper who was arresting him take a picture of his right hand, which then absolutely identified him as the perpetrator. Of course, he lawyered up. And this is what the incident report has to say. It says investigators attempted to interview Flournoy after he was taken into custody. However, he did not want to speak without an attorney. Now, if you pause to read this, you could read the whole incident report. But what I'm going to do is basically say what I just did. They identified him based off of the 2 distinct moles on his right hand. And unfortunately, on this paragraph right here, it basically says that a father had been notified because of his infant daughter being identified in that photo. They were a struggling family living in a motel, and this creep weaseled his way in and was staying with this couple who was working 2 jobs. Both of them, the mother and the father, were both working 2 jobs to make ends meet. And while they're working and giving this sicko a place to live, he was over here doing this to their infant daughter, the infant. But when police did a search, when they got a search warrant and searched his room, and that's where we're going to get into like all of this. If you want to pause to read the article, I'm just going to include it. But here's where it gets really disturbing. When they did a search of Flournoy's room, they found a baby binky, and this was on the windowsill, a baby binky, a stuffed animal, a child's character plastic drinking cup. The investigator noted it appears that he had an interest in infantilism. Furries. Well, they have an interest in bestiality. And these people have an interest in having sex with infants. Period. Dot. So I don't give a shit. The alphabet Rainbow Mafia, I'm calling you out because you allowed this to thrive. You called this inclusion. And you literally allied yourself with the biggest fucking predators the world has ever seen. Congratulations. So Alphabet Mafia, come at me. I dare you. And here's where it gets especially troubling, because he volunteered at a to be on the Youth Action Board, a youth-led group connected to the Reach Center in Tacoma that provides input on issues affecting young people experiencing homelessness and housing instability. And here he is. This is William. This is Isabel, or Izzy the Human 420. Last July, he gets in trouble. He was accused in a separate case of possessing and dealing documents related to the case state that files found on Flournoy's Google account, including what investigators described as voyeuristic-style photos of clothed females between the ages of 12 and 18, and a video of him yanking his willy on the steps of a homeless shelter for the youth in Tacoma. Thank God, Commissioner Barbara, she here set his bail at $1 million. And so I went to its Instagram, and here's what I found. He has a very unhealthy obsession with anime. Another red flag. And of course, like, this is questionable. Why do you have children on your Instagram? Look at this. Look at this. This is absolutely sadistic. More pictures of anime, and then in this picture right here, you can see the outline of his thing. Gross. More anime, more Pokemon. And then I see this picture, and he tags his date. Yeah, wait till you find this one out. So I go to her Instagram, and she has 3 children. And she's dating this creep. Way to go. Way to go, Rachel. And apparently Rachel designs anime. And so William says she's a cutie for sure, and I wish I could meet her with you. Is this his partner in crime? And on his Instagram, which made me gag, I see that he made like a Happy Mother's Day post, and he tagged Miss Rachel here. And look at what he says. You're welcome, my love. I'm glad you're glad too about how I see you as an amazing mom and how much you love and care about your kids as me too. Me as well. So she let him around her children. You better call the police, Rachel. I have only one wish, and it ain't much. Just make touching children a capital offense. I think every single one of us should not only be calling our state representatives, but congressmen, congresswomen, Republican, Democrat. We should all be on the same page here that if you touch a child, you don't get to breathe no more. And later on today, I'll be doing another story similar to this one. Unfortunately, I wish I could say I wasn't going to be able to do that, but there's a plethora of this going on because it's an epidemic anymore. And you know what, you guys, if we stop bickering and fighting about piddly bullshit, we could get together. We could change this. We could protect children. But hey, you want to hate people because of how they vote, when there's literally bigger fish to fry here. Speaking of fish to fry, this son of a bitch should get nothing less than old Sparky.